So, hi, live fam. So anyway, Living Violet. The reason why I named this channel the way I did because violet is like an unadulterated color. It's a true color. So what it is I wanted to speak truth on this channel and also just live truth on this channel. But anyway, the subject of today is Bachelor in Paradise, right? We just saw it. And we had to record our responses and our recap of what we seen. Okay, minus the the wedding and all the other stuff, but the serious topic that has been like a serious topic of the nation for like the last couple of years or several years is sexual assault. And it was very interesting because the host was asking the cast members what they thought and how they felt about what had occurred on the last show. And what it was is that the show was shut down for two weeks because of this incident that happened. And what happened was two members off of the cast, black male, white female, were heavily intoxicated, engaged in sex, and then she stated that she was a victim. They both are no longer a part of the cast anymore, but they conducted an investigation. They said that Warner Brothers had brought in an outside investigating personnel, and then nothing had came out. Everything was clear. Well, it was interesting listening to the cast members and what they had to say about their rendition about what had happened. I don't know if you wanted to say what you thought was interesting.
Well, I thought very interesting was I guess the you want to say the host of the Bachelor in Paradise. He sat every person down, and he started asking questions to each and every person. And what I found very interesting was that he made a comment of asking them, did race played a big part in this sexual assault and her claiming herself to be a victim. Well, everyone got quiet.
Yes.
And that's just like with the whole world. Nobody wants to talk about sexual assault and the diversity between whether it's a black man with a white woman. But if it's with a black man and a black woman, it's basically look at us like, oh, well,
it's trivial almost.
It's trivial. She probably wanted it and all this stuff. But when it comes to a black man with a white woman, it's always that we're always the accused and we always get blamed for something that, not gonna say everybody is accused of something, but
like for example, I'll just say that one of the things that came out was the whole situation about Emmett Till, how
yes,
for maybe over 50 years, this young man was beaten to his death, young man. And later on, not only like a year ago or something like that, the lady came out and stated that she just made it up. And that's how serious it is. Not to downgrade sexual assault or sexual harassment or anything like that, but it's very serious and it's a very gray line. And I think that it was I applaud Bachelor in Paradise for kind of touching on this subject.
Yes, because you did have black members on the cast, but it took a white male to come out and say, yes, race played a big deal in this investigation. And that is the main thing. Sexual assault is a very, 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 very touchy subject and serious crime. And to charge somebody for something like that, it always, and it
alters everybody's life.
And it's also in the military as well. It's always supposed to be an outside person that comes and do the investigation.
Well, what it is that we're both in the military, or we both served in the military, and sexual assault and if you don't know like what happened with military stuff in the last couple of years, like under the Obama administration, Obama made it clear and evident back in 2012 that he wanted to have zero tolerance about sexual assault and sexual harassment, and it was just like became a big witch hunt instead of it also brought to light about the issues that goes on, but it also created a witch hunt. But we're not going to get to that. We're going to go back into the but that, I think that's the reason why I respected the show even more, because instead of doing like a victim shaming or doing a well, he did it, or he's accused of doing this, they had an open discussion about what they saw the truth, what their truth was, or what their understanding of it was. And one cast member, and I shame on me, because I know that Bachelor in Paradise is like a big thing and everybody is watching it, so that's the reason I watched it tonight. But one cast member, she was saying that she sided with DeMarco. She was saying that she really felt sorry for him because as far as she knew, he seemed like he was a nice person and everything else. And what it was is that alcohol played a big part in this incident, and both were very highly intoxicated before they engaged in being intimate with each other, I would say. And what was so awesome about what she had, what was so awesome about what she said was that, she's from the South. She understands that how race plays a part in a deciding factor when it comes to those type of touchy sexual assault or sexual harassment cases. And then she also stated that she's a sexual assault survivor, so it's almost as if like she is saying that she hoped that it doesn't minimize or scare women off that actually have been abused to speak up, but it made her statement more respectable, just because she's unbiased. She's saying that, look, I really see that this person, they both probably made a mistake that they did not want, that they probably wouldn't have engaged in if they were sober. But I don't think it's fair that he's going to be pinned as a sexual predator or sexual abuser or something like that. This is something that's going to be tagged with him for the rest of his life, just because she said that she was a victim.
Well, I don't think it's going to be tagged to him for the rest of his life. They didn't, everything was inclusive. They didn't say he did or he didn't. Mm-hmm. But the short term is that, okay, nothing came out of it. Okay, he's okay. But the long term is, now that he's been pinned with a sexual assault case, when he goes to try to get a job, it's going to be hard for him to get a job, because they're looking up his name and that's going to be attached to his name. Even though nothing came out of it, he's still going to be attached to something that he didn't do. And that's why one of the main things I always say, that is one of the reasons why I don't drink and I don't smoke, because when alcohol get involved, people tend to do things knowing what they want to do when they were sober, but they just didn't have the guts to do it while they were sober. But when they get a little intoxicated, it just comes out. And I think I believe that the reason why she played victim, because again, she didn't want people to look at her as if she's messing with a black guy and she's going home, being around her family, and everybody question her about, oh, I can't believe you was with this, and this. And that's a big thing, because we already know how society is and how society's gonna look at things anyway. That is one of the reasons why I say be responsible when you drink. Know what you're doing when you drink, and don't get to the point where you so tipsy, you so drunk, and you pass out, and you don't know what's going on. So, yes.
But in this case, they weren't passed out. That's what
Exactly.
Said. And then the other black member said exactly what he said was, he really feel that race had a part of it, and they actually start to speak on that.
And then another cast member was like, well, what if you consent, and then all of a sudden you get into the act, and then you don't, and then you say no. Well, no means no, and once the female says no, you stop completely. But before you engage into sex, you always make sure you get consent, because it's been many times that people get into it and then the woman say no, and then the male feel like, oh, she just saying no, she don't mean it, but then she's actually meaning it, and then yes, it turns out to be a rape. But always consent before you do anything, and that way you're protecting yourself and you won't have any of these problems. But just be aware of the alcohol level, what you can and what you cannot contain, and just be careful. This was when I watched it, it made me realize a lot of things that's going on in the world as well. And you don't want to be in that situation where someone is blaming you for something that you thought it was okay, but it really wasn't.
And also keep in mind that you have relatives that are females. Your mother is a female. You have sisters. You have cousins, aunties. Just sisters. You have to keep all those things in mind. And the more and more that I, just talk and relate to others, and also just look at statistics that. It's a lot of females out here that actually have been either sexually assaulted or sexually harassed. I mean, shoot, it's a regular thing going up to a club and getting,
get touched on,
yep,
going through the crowd, and you don't know who
butt
touching
touched
you
and everything, so. Right? And to be honest, unwanted touching is sexual assault, and it's just a very touchy subject, a lot of blurred lines, but I really respect Bachelor in Paradise for actually putting this on the line. The reason why they had to is because in order to move forward in the show, they had to be sure that everybody was clear about what the incident was, and then also their understanding about what consent was, and to get their permission to continue on with the show.
And that's and it goes for athletes as well.
Oh yeah, that's a big thing.
Look at Ezekiel Elliott.
Yes, that's a big thing. Like in the last,
his girl tried to say that he sexual harassed or sexual assaulted her, and come to find out it ain't true. Things she trying to set him up, trying to get her friend to say certain things when his lawyer come speak to her friend and everything. That's what I'm saying.
They actually had a text message
that
off of her phone stating
her phone.
Her friend was saying, well, do you the attorney about to call me now, do you need me to lie? And it does a disservice for those women that are true victims.
And that's why I say a full thorough investigation should always be done outside
of the organization,
because if it's within the organization, that's considered as bias and prejudice. That's just the matter of the fact is you cannot do your own internal investigation on a sexual assault, because it always makes it seem as
everybody will have their feeling on it.
They're feeling on it, and they're gonna go towards the female. And
I as a female, I know that it generally does. But at the same time, I know that there are situations where something has happened, and someone is re-victimized in a situation, and sexual assault can happen with a male or a female. Just let's get it clear. This is a very violating type of act, and it can permanently alter a person's life.
It could damage your whole entire life
for males and females.
Males and females.
And then
The jobs that you can get, where you can stay,
mental stability, emotional stability, being able to maintain social and intimate relationships.
Yes.
But yeah, one of the things that all the cast members had stated, it was like, everything feels different. It don't even feel the same anymore. Everybody felt weird about it after the fact. Like, it's not only, false accusations is like a stigma type of thing. They say that, it's a very small percentage when it comes to FBI reports and everything else. It's like, what they say, under 10% or under 2%. But once you think about it, veterans, we're 1% of the nation. It's a lot of us. So, so if we put into numbers, it's like, who's actually making false accusations? We have another person who shared the same name as I do, named Brianna, that was in the news. White girl stated that 3 black men had raped her. 1 held her down as 2 raped her, and did a thorough investigation and wound up finding out that she was telling a lie.
She was telling a lie. Now she faces 32 years in prison for falsely accusing 3 guys of raping her. Because
this is serious.
They did a thorough investigation. And that's the main thing. When it comes to something serious like that, once again, a full, thorough investigation from the outside must be done. Must be done. There's no ands, there's no buts about it. It has to be done. Because this is somebody's life.
Yeah, because not only that, it's like the correct personnel that's trained on it has to be able to have eyes on it. The people that have the expertise have to understand what's going on, like psychiatrists, and law enforcement investigators that are professionals. And like, for example, you don't want somebody that's working on your teeth or doing surgery on your eyes that don't have the expertise to do it. You don't want people to mess with things knowing that they haven't had the training to do so. So it's the same thing with these type of things that, when it comes, there's a lot of lines that can be blurred when it comes to these type of things. I'm glad that this type of situation was kind of shown in this type of aspect on a reality show. It
goes to shows that sometimes the accused is not always guilty.
And sometimes, there is a gray area, and you just have to really thoroughly look at all different sides in order to find out what the truth really is. Not the perception of what you think it is, but what the actual truth is. And it was enlightening to see the cast members weighing everything out and understanding what they feel was true in the situation, to include the race thing too.
Yeah, because they was all nervous when he asked that question about, do you think race played a big part in it? And everybody just sat there and everybody looked at one another. And to me, it seemed like, the white people wanted the black people to say something, but actually the white guy ended up speaking on it and telling how he felt about it. And everybody knows what's going on in the world. But I just appreciate him stepping up and talking about it and understanding that, race played a big issue.
Not being blinded by it.
Not being blinded by it because
we actually have like a big race thing going on right now with the everything that happened in
Charlottesville.
Charlottesville.
Yeah, Charlottesville, Virginia. Yes.
Yeah, and actually the military jack school is out there.
So,
but yes, Charlottesville.
Well, this is Living Violet, and I just want to say one thing before we get out, is that, again, always be cautious of your alcohol intake. And always remember, get consent before you do anything at all.
watch out for yourself. Be mindful of each other. Make the right decisions. And also, when it comes to these types of subjects, try to be very cautious in your evaluations of a situation when it comes to sexual assault and sexual abuse, because it's a very serious subject matter, and it's very real.
Yes, it is.
Okay, until next time.
Peace, love, and violence.